What's up, everybody? All right. I think we got one more break left with green gloves. And then we're done with the green gloves for a while. On to baby blues after this. So, here is our owner list for the IndyCar break. And this was a good test run. I'm going to use this as a way for me to determine what best to do with the checklist for when we do our hobby boxes. So you may see when we expand upon this to hobby boxes, some of these drivers, some of these cheaper spots that went unclaimed, may get filtered over into the unlisted /teams/events category. So we'll reduce a few of the drivers and add a little something to that unlisted spot, because there's not really a whole lot of fluff to that. So I wanted to kind of see where everybody, fit in and then go from there. So, the hobby boxes that I pre-ordered of this stuff have not yet been shipped, to my knowledge. I have not received a shipping email or confirmation email or anything. But my LCS already has his hobby boxes in. He messaged me earlier, the owner of the shop messaged me earlier and said, hey, if you need IndyCar hobby boxes, come and get them. So I'm going to be there tomorrow, and I'll grab some. And probably this weekend we'll do a IndyCar break. We might do it on, I don't know when. Maybe Sunday? We'll just see what happens. But anyways, the hobby boxes will probably be a little bit more exciting because they should have, I think it's 2 autographs or 3 autographs per. I think it's 2 per box. So, anyways, here's our duck race lineup for those remaining spots. Like I said, not a lot of high-end drivers left in that duck race, but a bunch of them. So, somebody's going to get a bunch of names out of this, for sure. Oh, I need 19, not 18. There we go. All right, so good luck to everybody in the duck race. Get this thing going. Let me point you guys down so you can see better. I just realized you probably can't see very well. That should help some. Good luck. And then we'll get this show on the road. A little later than I was planning on starting, but it is what it is. Like I said, new product that we really haven't opened other than those 2 boxes last night, so kind of hard to know what the interest level is and how fast things are going to go and all that jazz. So, after tonight, I'll have a little bit better feel for kind of everything. 16's looking pretty good on the bottom. Yep, Duck 16 takes the win. That is Ronnie Stone. Ronnie took the last 3 spots to close out the filler. Worked out all right for Ronnie. Appreciate the help with everybody trying to finish things off. And like I said, worked out for Ronnie. He closed out the last 3 spots. He was our closer for the filler. And it worked out just fine. So, congrats, Ronnie. You got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, like 17 or 18 extra drivers. So, should be in good shape, I would think. So, all right, let's do this. Like I said, we saw 2 of these last night. Now, according to the website, you should be able to pull a hit in about 1 in 10 of these hanger boxes, according to the website. And we opened 2 last night, and I got 10 sitting here. So we're going to kind of test that theory and see if we can find 1 tonight to put that to the test. So we've got, and I'll try to go fairly slow because I know everybody's by the driver now, and these are a new product. So Willpower, Ed Carpenter, Pato Award, Willpower. A lot of willpower to start this pack. Toby Sowery, Marco Andretti, Marcus Armstrong, Stingray Robb, Santino Ferrucci. I still do not know what these parallels are, but I do know that they're not just regular base. They are a parallel. I'm still calling them a checkered flag for now. Kyle Kirkwood. That is Tim Mays. And then we got Nolan Siegel on the Pit Pass Silver for Sam. And then usually in the middle of these packs, I call this a little bit more of an art card. It's usually just driver and car. The back is slightly different. It even says vintage, so maybe they're calling it a vintage card. I guess that would make sense. Definitely by the way the card stock feels, that would make sense. Rinus VK. We got the Nashville card. Scott McLaughlin. Checkered flag parallel. Going to Tim Mays. And we got a triple Pato Award, Joseph Newgarden, Scott McLaughlin. I'm going to set all the triples off to the side. And we'll probably do one random and just decide whether they go to the left, right, middle type of thing. Will Power. That is a different color cardstock, a different parallel than I'm used to from last night. That's something we haven't seen before. Going to Jake Phillips. Then you got AJ Foyt Racing. Mayor Shank Racing. Scott Dixon, Scott McLaughlin, Colton Herta. Augustin Canapino. Joseph Newgarden. Connor Daly. And Graham Rahal. Rookie debut is the red black. So that's their debut card. Yeah, I gotcha. That makes sense. Yeah, those are cool. Learning as we go. I guess if I read the back, it might tell me something. It does not. Not really. Lie detector test determined that was a lie. Anyway, like I was saying, nice cards. I like these a lot. Tom Blomqvist, Graham Rahal, Christian Rasmussen, Will Power, Scott McLaughlin, Rinus VK, Linus Lundqvist, Kyle Kirkwood, Takuma Sato, Scotty Mack, Alexander Rossi with the checkered flag. Goes to Tim Mays. Pit Pass, Kyle Larson. That's pretty sweet. Going to CW. And you know what's interesting for the Larson fans, I'm not so sure he's going to try it again next year. He seemed pretty... it made me believe that he probably isn't going to do it again next year. So, Graham Rahal with the vintage. And there's the Marquee Moments rookie, Kyle Larson. Let's leave that one up for CW as well. But anyway, my point being is this may be the only year that you can get Larson IndyCar cards. Arrow McLaren with the, I guess we'll call this a sparkle. Lundgaard, Siegel, and Pato Award. And for the teams, Hendrick Motorsports with the checkered flag. Ryan Hunter-Ray, debut. Colton Herta, Alex Palou, Alexander Rossi. Dale Coyne Racing. Chip Ganassi Racing. Will Power Pato Award Connor Daly. Callum. Callum again. Castro Neves. And Graham Rahal. Tristan Vaudier, Jack Harvey, Colin Braun, Pato Award, Scotty Mack, Toby Sowery, Marco Andretti, Linus Lundqvist, Scotty Mack, Connor Daly, Checkered Flag Pato, going to Sam, we got the Kyle Kirkwood Pit Pass for Tim Mays in the Sparkle. Graham Rahal Vintage again. Marquee Moments with the whole gang. Marcus Armstrong. Hendrick Motorsports again. Award Newgarden, Scotty Mack. Hendrick Motorsports again. Colton Herta, IndyCar debut. Chip Ganassi. The Astor Challenge Cup. Rossi. Newgarden. Castro Neves. And Catherine Legg. I don't know how many other people caught it or not, but I did catch today that Panini put out a new release date for Donruss, which is now July 2nd. So talk about a major pushback. Tom Blomqvist, Graham Rahal, Christian Rasmussen, Will Power, Scotty Mack, Ryan Hunter-Ray, Rinus VK, Marcus Armstrong, Stingray Rob, Scott McLaughlin, Christian Lundgaard in the checkered flag goes to Brandon Barton. Sparkle Rinus VK for Stephen Roberts, on the pit pass. Vintage VK. I like those vintage cards. Those are cool. Marquee Moments for Will Power. The Prima Sparkle team card. Firestone Firehawk in the checkered flag parallel. And then we got Joseph Newgarden with his debut, 2012. Hard to believe he's been racing that long. He seems so young still. Aaron McLaren, Dale Coyne, Meyer Shank, Willpower, Alex Palou, Lundgaard, Callum, Newgarden, Hunter McElroy, and Yuri. Alex Palou, Yuri, Marcus Armstrong, Scott Dixon, Pato Award, Rinus VK, Linus Lundqvist, Kyle Larson, Takuma Sato, Connor Daly, Fittipaldi, checkered flag. Graham Rahal, pit pass, sparkle. Going to Brandon. Vintage Colton Herta. Three-time champion Alex Palou. Ed Carpenter, helmet hardware, sparkle. Goes to Scott Dixon. Those are cool. Those remind me of the old Torque helmet set a little bit. Takuma Sato, checkered flag. Going to Sam. I think that's, if I'm not mistaken, I think that's Sam's like main guy is Sato. Alex Palou, Willpower, Newgarden. Willpower, second debut card. AJ Foyt, Herta, Dixon, and Palou. Power, Palou, and Lundgaard. We're probably going to have enough, just like before, last year, those triple cards, I'll probably have enough to give everybody one. We probably don't even have to mess with a random on them. Be my guess. Connor Daly and Ray Hall. Halfway through. I think this is a good buy. I mean, if you see these out, they're supposed to be in Targets. If you see these out in Target for, I think they're like, I don't know how much the price is, in the retail store, but I want to say they were like 12 or 13 bucks for a hanger pack, and then of course you got to pay for all the shipping. So I don't know if they'll be that price in the stores or if they'll be marked up in the stores, but anywhere between 12 and 15 bucks for a nice pack of IndyCar cards. That's a good price in my opinion. Alex Palou, Yuri, Marcus Armstrong, Palou, Pato, Romain Grosjean, Kyle Kirkwood again, Stingray Robb, Santino Ferrucci. Target hat. Todd says his Target had him for $11.99. Yeah, I think that's a good price. If you're out in the store and you see them for 12 bucks, that's solid in my opinion. Scott McLaughlin going to Tim Mays. They're nice cards. Kirkwood Sparkle Pit Pass. Kirkwood art card. Another Rookie of the Year, Larson. Oh, this is something different. Somebody giving the heart hands. Chris Owens, photographer. That'll for sure go to the unlisted spot. Some of those you can make out who the picture is, and then you can distinguish who it should go to, but that's not easy to tell. Arrow McLaren, checkered flag. Yeah, probably Catherine Legg would be my guess. Ed Carpenter, debut for Scott Dixon. Herta, Dixon, and Pillow. Oh, and then we got another debut card for Scott Dixon, which doesn't belong to our Scott. It belongs to Tim Mays. A lot of Scott Dixon going around. Scotty Mack, Joseph Newgarden, Linus Lundqvist, Andretti Global, Christian Rasmussen, the series card, Connor Daly, and Graham Rahal. Indy 500 winner, Alex Palou. Yuri. Marcus Armstrong. Palou again. Pato Award. Rinus VK. Kyle Kirkwood. I was going to say, we're going to have a Kirkwood behind it. Yep, I think that's the third time I've seen that sequence. Stingray Robb. Scott Dixon signed card. Yeah, Connor Daly. Checkered flag, Graham Rahal. Going to Brandon. Well, I'm sure we can get you a Scott Dixon card signed by Scott Dixon, but those might be two different Scott Dixons. Marcus Armstrong, Sparkle Pit Pass. Going to Scott Dixon. Speaking of that, we're going to have everybody confused real quick. Alex Palou, Vintage. Marquee Moments for Scott Dixon. Andretti Global with Erickson, Kirkwood, and Colton Herta with the Sparkle. Tristan Vaudier, is that how you say it? That is an unlisted driver and goes to Ronnie. Catherine Legg debut was in 2006. That's wild that she's been at it for almost 20 years. I mean, she didn't race the 500 this year, but I know she's still racing. Pato Award, Newgarden, Scott Dixon. Of course, she's messing around with NASCAR more this year. Palou, Willpower, McLaughlin. Newgarden, Lundqvist. They might overdo these podium cards a touch for my taste. Otherwise, I don't think I have any complaints. Power, Palou, Lundgaard. Palou. Series card. Luca. And Jack Harvey. Yeah, it's easy to keep up with what their car numbers are in that sense. You know, I never paid attention until this year's Indy 500 when I noticed Ferrucci runs the 14 car, which he's obviously driven before. I but I guess I wasn't paying attention and put it all together. But AJ Foyt and the 14, and then they also have the 4. And, of course, because Tony Stewart was, you know, his hero pretty much was AJ Foyt, that explains why, to me, why Stuart Haas always had the 14 and the 4. Tristan. Jack Harvey. The champion got the number 1. Oh, that's cool. Colin Braun. I'd be too superstitious to do that. Scott Dixon. McLaughlin. Ryan Hunter-Ray. Kirkwood. Siegel. Stingray Robb. Ferrucci in that 14 I was just talking about. Checkered flag, Marco Andretti. Going to Johnny. Sparkle Jack Harvey. Goes to Ronnie. We got the Vintage Pato Award. Those are really nice. These would be great if you have an IndyCar race near you. I feel like these vintage cards would be amazing to go get a signature on. Just the way they're laid out. And Ready Global. Oh, that's different. What is that? Nolan Siegel. Beneath the Bucket. That is not one we've seen yet. So we'll top load that one. That's certainly different. Going to Sam. Sam might be able to shed some light because he's probably as educated on these as anybody. Tristan with the checkered flag. Goes to Ronnie in the filler. Catherine Legg debut again. Yeah, I wouldn't be able to do that. I wouldn't be able to change numbers. Award, McLaughlin, Newgarden. Beneath the Bucket's a shorter print. Okay, gotcha. That's what I was assuming. Scott Dixon debut. Considering we haven't seen one yet, and we've opened now, this is our 10th hanger that we've opened, and that's the first one I've seen. I figured that was probably the case. Rossi, Newgarden, Castroneves, and Hunter McElroy. All right, 2 to go. There's still hope we could find a hit in one of these last 2. You always hope when they say your odds of pulling something are this, that you can fall within those odds, but it doesn't always work like that, you know, like... 2 per hobby box. Got ya. So, yeah, not necessarily a short print, but not a common. Will Power, Newgarden, Herta, Scott Dixon, Pato, Ferrucci, Rinus VK, Marcus Ericsson, Sato, Herta, checkered flag, Marcus Ericsson. I like that photo. That's cool. Going to Tim Mays. Pit Pass, Jack Harvey. The sparkle goes to Ronnie. Sam says that they're advertising 2 autos per hobby box like last year, but I have seen about 30 boxes open, and every one has had 3. Well, that's good. I would always rather somebody advertise low and then surprise us with better. That's solid. If you're getting 3 autos out of a hobby box, that's really solid. Marcus Ericsson. Will Power marquee moments. And there's another Will Power. So there's the second one of those we've seen now. Beneath the Bucket for Jake Phillips. Checkered flag, Newgarden. And that's Newgarden's debut in a checkered flag, not the red and black version. Pillow Power Newgarden. There's the Newgarden again in the debut red and black. So, a couple different versions of that one. Yeah, under promise, over deliver. It's a lost art. But man, it'll take you a long way in business. Rahal Letterman Lanigan Racing. I wonder where the Lanigan comes in. Mike Lanigan. There was a really good dirt late model driver, Darrell Lanigan, out of Kentucky. I think he hung it up a few years ago and sort of quietly hung it up. He always had the nicest race car, like clean, always had the nicest hauler. He was one of the first drivers in the pits for a dirt track that I ever saw that had the sliding glass doors and air conditioning inside his trailer, and just had the best of the best and everything. Tristan, Jack Harvey, Colin, Pato, Scotty Mack, Rhinus VK, Kyle Larson again, Takuma Sato, Christian Lundgaard, Ryan Hunter-Ray, checkered flag, David Malukas. Look at the glasses, the goggles. Those are like the Minion goggles. Going to Billy Joe. Graham Rahal, vintage. Pillow. Rahal, Letterman, Lanigan, Sparkle. Catherine Legg, checkered flag on the debut. We got Ed Carpenter Racing. One more triple. Colton Herta debut. I think we're going to go all the way through without any hits. Which, like I said, even though they advertise 1 in 10 hangers, there's no guarantee, you know. It's just an odds situation. So that Lanigan is a longtime business partner, but you never see him. Okay. Mike Lanigan doesn't ring a bell to me, so certainly probably seems like probably not a relative. Like I said, Darrell Lanigan was out of Kentucky, and I don't think he had any brothers or anything, so. All right, yeah. That is that. Like I said, I wouldn't get too down in the dumps because, as Sam alluded to, the hobby boxes from what we're hearing, the hobby boxes are really, really good again this year. And like I said, I will pick up some hobby boxes from my LCS tomorrow. We'll have plenty of hobby boxes to play with, that's for sure. So, that said, stay tuned, because we may do some IndyCar yet this weekend that was not on the original schedule. But tomorrow night, we'll be back at it with a mixer, a 4-box mixer. 2 boxes National Treasures and 2 boxes of Prism tomorrow night. That'll be our mixer. So stay tuned for that. And if you didn't see the mail shipping posts, I made shipping posts today and tagged folks. So check to see if you're tagged in one of those. We're kind of cycling up to the point where we got a lot of stuff built up again. So I'm going to try to orchestrate some breaks next week where shipping's included, to see if we can get some stuff shipped out to people too, that maybe either don't want to pay for shipping or are just opting to wait or whatever. So we'll see if we can orchestrate a couple breaks next week that we'll have shipping included as well. So that's all I got for now. Everybody have a great rest of your night, and we'll see you next time.